So you saw Kanye release College Dropout and you said, I can do it better than me. High school dropout.
Oh, that's funny.
That's right. It's a joke.
No. I didn't do it. You know what I mean? I said I'm gonna just focus on the detailing business for my brother, try to make money there, and we'll go see where life takes us. You know what I mean? And within 2 months, 3 months, we made 5 figures in 1 month off of the detailing business. So
In 1 month?
Yeah. And when we did that, I said, I'm never going back to school. You know what I mean? Because you spend 4 years in college, you get into a tremendous amount of debt, and you go get a job that pays you 6 figures. That's what everyone talks to me, right? I want to make 6 figures out of college. I can make 6 figures washing cars for free. You understand? Like, I didn't have to pay to learn how to wash cars. Everything everything business related I can learn on the internet. You know what I mean? We're in a day and age where everything is, ChatGPT. You know, everything is on your phone.
But ChatGPT is wrong a lot of the time.
It's wrong, yes, but you
resources were.
Yeah, exactly. You can.
YouTube is the best university.
I love YouTube, but you have the internet. Is basically what I'm trying to say. Now, in this day and age, you can learn anything from the internet. You know what I mean?
University is more. It's more of a class thing, more of a societal thing. It's more of a networking thing. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't need that, then that's no issue. And in the future, what worries about I hope me and you do. I think me and you are going to do business in the future.
100%.
And there could be a moment where an investor comes to you and says, "Oh, what university do you graduate from?" You ever think of that? That you have to be honest to someone that says that has that kind of the goggles on of yesteryear that says you have to be a college graduate in order to do business with me. Do you have any fears of that?
I don't think that will ever happen, and I'll tell you why.
I'm guessing what you're going to do is going to replace that.
Exactly. The experience. You know what I mean? If I am showing that I am making money with real estate development, I'm building properties, I'm selling them, whatever, buying rental properties or whatever it is, business related, right? If someone comes to me and says, I don't want to do business with you because you don't have a college degree or you don't have a high school diploma, sucks for you. You know what I mean? Because numbers wise, you're gonna make money.
Okay.
And you're gonna make money through me.
So you have no fears with that?
No fears. Not a single fear.
Because go ahead.
What is there to be scared about?
That the doors close and you have to go somewhere else. That's what's happening. That's what you have to do. I graduated right here. This diploma right here says Bachelor of Science in Communication. That's what I graduated from. I want to make movies. I went to Prague and made 2 movies actually. I was a screenwriter and a director in 2 separate films. Crazy time. However, the thing is, I wouldn't change that because that's my passion, and I might come back to it. I might produce a movie. But with all this AI, I am glad. I put my foot in trying to make movies. I'm very proud of the work I did. However, just not where I wanted to go. But that's the thing. You have to go where you want to go in order to know what you don't want to do, right? And what I say about this with AI is that, man, do you know Sora?
Sort of.
Sora is the AI image generator, video generator of OpenAI. It's fantastic.
Really?
I actually like that. I actually like scrolling on there more than I like scrolling on Instagram.
Really?
Because Instagram is so flooded with comments and with likes, and on Sora it's just images and videos of what I consider to be artists, right? Putting their imagination in life, which is fantastic. It's what Instagram should be, in my view. But what I mean by AI, my brother is a graphic designer and fantastic at it. But I came to him one time. I came to him saying, "Hey Frankie, do you think you can make this ad for me about Domus, a pre-construction project in Brickell, about how it's gonna be the first project ready before the World Cup." And I wanted like Argentinians, Colombians, little kids, Brazilians running around in their shirts playing together. And I was like, "Can you animate this for me?" And he said, "Man, I'd love to do this favor, but there's so much work." You know how much work Sora does for that? Sora creates like that. So like, that's why I think it's like AI is really taking the job from artists rather than from what we don't want to do, accounting and stuff like that. And then that's like, that really just, how is art going to survive knowing that now everybody can do it? It's like, my brother is a graphic designer and now he's got risk. And look, that was his, that chicken was his. The paintings behind you were his, the Benji right there. You see that? Look, right there, Benji.
Oh, yeah.
And the monkey, that was both his. And then you put that image in Sora, and they pop it out. It's not human, it's not authentic, and that's really what art is. But it's like, I have to be in a field where humans cannot be replaceable, and I feel like that's really in sales. Sure, I'm contracting, I'm building an AI agent to do outbound calls. However, AIs can't close deals, right? So AI is going to bring me the deals so I can close them, right? But I don't really see humans closing deals with AI.
Right.
That's my point. That's my viewpoint. And I see very easily, top Hollywood execs one day, not maybe now because of all the bad press they've been, but then completely replacing screenwriters, graphic designers, and artists with AI. I used to be a writer because I like to cultivate stories, right? But I really believe that I use that now in order to make sure that my life story is where I want it to be, right? And so I'm semi-using the degree. Because in order to sell, you need to sell what?
The dream.
The story, the dream.
Right.
Right? If you don't have a story to sell, you ain't selling your product.
Right.
And that's flat out. However, I believe I'm a great storyteller, and one day maybe I'll go back to it. But I really feel like where I'm at now is exactly where I need to be. Right? Now, where am I now? Man, it's so funny. It's so hilarious that I entered the real estate, realm where there's all these, PTA moms, Joe Schmo, Dean from Weston, right? Shout out Dean. What do they have? They have connections, right? 85,000 realtors dropped out last year because they couldn't survive.
Right.
Because they lacked the connections and the know-how.
100%.
However, it's crazy to me that the first friend of mine that bought from me is a 19-year-old. Isn't that crazy? But the thing is, I don't get deals from referrals like you. I get the deals through thin air. I cold call. And in a millisecond, I have to create a connection with someone that they trust me with their business.
Right.
And it's not no small business. It's not no $50 product.
Of course.
It's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
100%.
And they have to entrust me within seconds. And I find that that way of doing business, that profession, for now, you know, could I have done this without the support of the company? Absolutely not, right? But I just want to ask you, the most valuable lesson you've learned in life.
I want to say without action, there's no and will never be a reaction. So what I mean by that is, it all comes down to doing, right? If you want something, you can manifest it all you want. You can tell people about it. You can live it in your dreams. But until you take action and, take the risk, man. Take the risk, take the action. Everybody is gonna die. Realistically, we're all gonna die, right? Unfortunately, that's something we can't prevent, right? So it just comes down to do whatever it is that you want to do, and take actions on what it is that you want to be. That's it. You know what I mean? No one's gonna. It's hard to remember somebody after they pass away. Even years later, people are just gonna move on with their lives. You know what I mean? No one's really gonna care at the end of the day. Your family's gonna be distraught, but they're gonna go too. And that's just a harsh reality. So it just comes down to be the best version of yourself. You know what I mean? Try to become that person that you want to become, and take the action that it has to be taken to become that person. You know what I mean? Because with no action, nothing will happen. You know what I mean? Nothing. If you don't take the steps, you won't see the path. And if you don't see the path, you will never ever be able to experience what's in the end of that path. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Nike, right? Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
There's been a lot of lessons I learned, but one that I would say is the most valuable is that don't sell facts to an emotion. First sell the emotion, and then they'll buy the facts. Whatever facts fit someone else's emotion, that's the emotion they're gonna buy. That's how they're gonna close a deal, by selling emotion. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
You could show numbers in a way that can convey a sense of confidence or trust. But at the end of the day, if you're solely using numbers, I don't think it's gonna work.
I think you have to know who you're dealing with. I think there's two types of people in this world. What you're selling is the person who is almost like he wants to know the features, he wants to know the type of car he's buying, he wants to know what comes with the car. And then there's the other person that wants to know how it's going to feel driving that car, and how it's going to feel experiencing people coming up to you driving that car. You know what I mean? The dream person, I guess you could say. So you have to know kind of who you're dealing with. If you're dealing with someone who's more analytical and more wants to see statistics and that kind of stuff, numbers, then you gotta show them what he wants to see.
Right there. America has a lot of flaws.
Right.
And, what makes them good is exactly what makes them bad. Okay? What I mean is this. America was built on efficiency.
100%.
Practicality. Okay? So then, I'm Latin descent. I forget the word, but Brazilians are not Latin.
I think it's Latin, isn't it?
No, it's a different word because they're Latin America excludes Brazil. I don't know. I think it's Euro or something. But, very similar cultures at the end of the day. Very passionate people.
Right.
But at the end of the day, America excels at being practical. What does that mean? My dad's an accountant. He cuts out everything that doesn't work. So am I. I cut out everything that doesn't work. I still take part in sports because I consider it an art, right? And I take it a step further because I love movies and I consider them an art as well. So I pick a side, right? So it's more emotional for me. But at the end of the day, it's just two artists competing, And a lot of people take it too far. I don't see the point I do not see the point in picking a side when I have my own things to worry about, right? I gotta do what's best for myself.
Right.
So like, people get into these, people like what you said. Instagram feeds you what you want to see, so you can see it more.
Mm.
It's a great business, but at the end of the day, man, we gotta take care of these people because I'm not saying replace Instagram with books because that's not gonna happen. But it would be a good thing if it did. So what I'm asking is just a lot of people your age and a lot of people my age are focused on when's the next time we could go to a club, and dance. That's tribalism because it's showing them what they should want, right? Instead of doing a podcast at 9 a.m., you would probably cancel on me because you went to a club the night before, right?
Right.
So, going back to something that we just discussed, investing time in leisure, like investing your resources in leisure, is very human, right? But aren't humans animals?
Yeah.
And are we supposed to be better than them? Or are we the same?
Well, I mean, technically, we are more conscious than any other animal. Right?
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. It's like, why do we have to be so tribalistic in today's world?
Well, I agree with you. You know what I mean? I'm not a big balance guy. I'm to be honest with you. Like, there was a phase in my life where I didn't leave my room for months. You know what I mean?
Me too.
Exactly, just working, learning, studying. I'd wake up, I'd work, I'd learn, I'd study, I'd go to the gym, I'd get home, I'd eat, I'd sleep, and I'd repeat it. You know what I mean? But with that being said, right, I think that people, and I could be completely wrong, but I think that people don't really know exactly what they want sometimes, and they almost just float. They're almost like floating around in life. You know what I mean? They're just going about it day by day, and they're not really trying to achieve. They don't really feel as if they have a purpose. You know what I mean? And sometimes, with that being said, it steers you the wrong direction. You know what I mean? People go out, they party, they do things because they want to feel some sense of purpose. You know what I mean? They want to feel as if they're worth something. You know what I mean? And they most likely get that feeling when they go out. You know what I mean? They most likely get that feeling when they're hanging out with people. You know what I mean? Me and you are a little bit different, right? We get that dopamine off of
Good stuff.
good stuff. The work that we do. You know what I mean? I'm sure when you finish a video and you post it, it feels good, right? It numbs down now that you post it.
Well, I'm not. It's better to phrase when I close the deal.
Okay.
Because I'm not a
Even
social
better.
media. I'm not a social media
Perfect,
manager.
even better. When you close a deal, you feel good. All that work paid off. You know what I mean? Maybe you and I are a little bit more focused on almost having like this tunnel vision of what we want to get to. You know what I mean? I know people who want to go to college just to experience the college life. You know what I mean? Just a party. Like, dude, I've never been a party guy. I've never went to parties. What the fuck am I celebrating? Excuse my language, right? What am I celebrating? I haven't won anything. I haven't done anything in my life. You know what I mean? I determine success by a couple things. How you treat people, right? The money you make, and the relationships you have. You know what I mean? Are you a good person? You know what I mean? But apart from that, I mean, success is not, achieving celebrity status, in my opinion, wouldn't be considered success. You know what I mean? Going out to the club all the time, enjoying the club, that's not success. You know what I mean? You can make all the money in the world, but if you treat people like shit, are you really successful? Right? You can make all the money in the world, but if you have 6 months to live and you're laying down your deathbed. You're
That's
successful.
that's what I thought about recently. I'm like, my dad told me, you know, I'm gonna be a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, that's not even a goal of mine. But I was like, why not? And then I pondered it. Because he's a very serious man, and for him to tell me I'm going to be a millionaire because of how hard I work is very important for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then I pondered this thought of being a millionaire. And then I was like, okay, I can do it. But it's like, if I were to wake up tomorrow and I was a millionaire, and then the following day I didn't wake up and I was still a millionaire. Right. You know what I'm trying to say? So, like, this is $1 million. You know what that is? Health. I could live, right? So then it's like, that's very important, having health.
100%.
But then it's like, how far we do it? So first is health, right?
100% health. Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, a lot of people are healthy, right?
Yes and no.
So, okay, yeah. Yes or no, but then it's like, okay, so we step further. How do we get that extra success?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then I look at these people around, and a lot of people deem success by how many friends they have. That's not me. You know why? Because my dad also said this. You know what? There's a lot of people breaking viewership records right on television. And there's less people reading. You know what that means? You know what I'm trying to get at?
Mm.
Okay, so Instagram pushes things out there that people like. Okay. You know what there's a lot of? You know what there's more than us? Flies. And you know what flies eat? Okay. So at the end of the day, quality beats quantity every single time, and you can't define success by how other people see you, right? So this thing about what you said about how you treat people, I mean, look, I don't have a friend of mine that we didn't make money with.
Mm-hmm.
Because what am I doing, you know, getting drunk with someone instead of helping them? But then it's like, my energy is so sacred to me. Why waste that on that?
Right.
So just do, like what you just said, like do the best that you can do.
Because if you have no family, you'll be really successful. You know what I mean? You can make all the money in the world, but there's millions out there who kill themselves. Why? Probably because they feel as if they're not loved. It's like, I'll give you an example, right? When you felt
In Spain.
when you were destroyed, right? Someone could look at that and say,
Weak. Almost.
You know what I mean? Right. But who are they to say that when they've never been in that position? You know what I mean? So I see what you're saying, but then again, you know, apart from that, when you die, people aren't gonna remember you for the amount of money you make. They're gonna remember you for how you treated them. You can't take money with you, but you will be judged. You know what I mean? Judgment day will come, and if you are a bad person and you do bad things,
Okay, so that's where it's like.
you see what I'm saying?
Okay, so yeah, I'm not out here trying to be a people pleaser. I'm trying to be the best me I can do. And I think that's what everybody should be doing. You know, society would be a much better place. However, you know, I do appreciate and respect your point of view on that.
I do want to do on one thing.
Go ahead.
Cut you off, but it's very important not to mix the two, people pleaser and relationships. You know what I mean? I don't think you have to be friends with everybody. I don't think you have to like everybody, and you will never be liked by everybody. My circle is very small too. You know what I mean? I barely talk to anybody. Now, with that being said, am I nice to everybody? Nice. I'm more kind to everybody. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna badmouth you because I feel disrespected. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna try to, be disloyal. You know, I'm a very loyal person. I feel like it's very important. But it's more like When you start pleasing other people, you lose yourself in the process. So you have to really, really understand and be, 10 toes down and understand that, okay, I'm living for me and I'm living for, whether you want to live for another family member or you want to live for people you really love, you know what I mean? You have to be conscious about that. Because as soon as you start living for other people, you take the power out. You remove yourself from the power position. You know what I mean? Like you can get hurt. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean by the power position. Like you're not so much more in control of, the consequences or whatever, the effect of what happens in your life. Then again, it's like, do you want to take those chances? You know what I mean? For the person you love. Right? Do you want to live for somebody else because you love that person? And will you be okay with losing yourself in the process of being for that person? That's a you thing. You gotta figure that out. There's a couple people I live for. My family. I do this for my family as well. You know what I mean? We were all in the same position coming up. You know what I mean? And I don't want us to be in that position in the future. You know what I mean? So everything I do is for everybody in my family. And I'm okay with that. There's people who do things only for themselves. You know what I mean? They don't want anything to do with people they've had relationships with, people they loved and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And who am I to judge you? Right? I'm not judging you. Do whatever you want with your life. I don't care less what you do with your life, but that's just not me. And they could say the same thing about me. It's like, who are you pleasing other people? It's like, we just have different priorities, and we're just different human beings. We think differently. You know what I mean? But that's kind of the important thing that I'm trying to say is, at the end of the day, it's really just, whoever it is that you want to be, be like this. If you want to please other people because that's what brings you joy and that's what you feel like you have a sense of purpose in, then do that. No one's stopping you. You know what I mean? Who am I to tell you how to live your life? It's your life. You're gonna die, not me. You know what I mean? Do whatever you want. But I think it's very important. Look, in my opinion, it's very, very bad to please friends. Please people that most likely will not serve a good purpose in your life. And what I mean by please is, if you want to be successful, there's a price to pay, right? Whether it's you're sacrificing time to learn, you're sacrificing leisure to earn, you're sacrificing, nights out to be able to wake up in the morning and get after it. You're not sacrificing the dopamine anymore. You're sacrificing your phone. There's things that you have to sacrifice. And as soon as you start pleasing other people in the sense of like, okay, these are my friends. I want to be a part of what they are. You know what I mean? Friend group. And it's like your priorities don't line up with their priorities. So why are you doing what they're doing when both of you are on different paths? There's people that I've known in the past that, I wouldn't say my friends, but there's people I've seen, in the past where they don't really, their vision doesn't line up with my vision. Cool. But I have to do my own thing. You know what I mean? I can't be with you. Like, I can't have a relationship with you if we are in a completely different vision.
Harm.
Exactly. It's gonna cause more harm than good. And at the end of the day, I mean, if you're really true friends, like if you guys are really close, the relationship's not gonna go anywhere. Because both of you guys understand the importance and want what's best for each other. You know what I mean? I have relationships right now where I am amazing friends with this kid I grew up with. I have two really good best friends, and my relationship with them is, we cannot speak for years. You understand? And we'll still be amazing friends, just for the simple fact that we want what's best for each other. We grew up with each other. We're almost like brothers, you know. We see each other like brothers. And I've had moments where I haven't spoke to one of my best friends for 6 months, 7 months. He was doing his own thing, I was doing my own thing. And we get on the phone with each other and, you know, we're still like blood. You know, we might have been born from a different mom, but we're still like blood, you know what I mean? Those are real friendships. The people that you cut off, I guess you could say, that, you know, feel some sort of distraught or feel some sort of envy, when you cut them off, those aren't your friends. The people that get mad at you for doing your own thing and pursuing your own passion, those aren't your real friends. You know what I mean? Those people, they don't want to be left behind, and they feel like you're going somewhere and they're not. You'll know when you have a real friendship. Like you'll know. You know what I mean? You could almost like, it's like an intuition almost kind of thing. You know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, I haven't spoken to this kid in years. You know, I've been doing my own thing. He's been doing his own thing. I've been doing well. He's been doing well. I have no envy for that person. I only want what's best for that person. You know, it's like if I had a pill that I could swallow, it's like I'll give them everything they want, and I will be left with nothing, right? Or
you will swallow that pill?
well, hold on, let me finish. Where it's we're both mediocre. You know what I mean? I'll swallow that pill to the point where I'll give you everything you want. You'll be the most successful person you've ever imagined. Instead of us being both mediocre. You know what I mean?
So you would sacrifice yourself?
Of course. Mediocrity. What's there to live about mediocrity? If you're very close friends with somebody, you're family. You know what I mean? You're family. Friends are nothing to, you know, you can have acquaintances and you can have friends and you can be friends with someone in college and some friends with someone in high school, but are they family? You know what I mean? That is a circle that you have to really, really, really understand who's in that circle. You know what I mean?
And then you know, then we have to take it a step further, and it's like, is that circle the best thing for you to be in, or are you serving the circle more than the circle is serving you?
100%. I agree with
Or, for example, the human is the animal that's most dependent for the longest amount of time.
Right.
So then, okay, now I don't need my family, but do I owe something?
Right.
You know, that right there. That is what I'm struggling with. It's like, okay, we're all individuals, and yeah, the circle is important, but to what extent? Because at the end of the day, family, sure, it's blood, and it's, you know, it's close friends. But what if one day that family decides something that's not in your best interest?
Do I live for my family? I mean, I owe them everything.
You know everything? Why? Because of how they treated you.
It's not only that, but it's more just I wouldn't be where I'm at without them. You know what I mean? Even when it comes down to vision and purpose, you have to experience something to be motivated to do something, right? Whether it's deprivation, whatever it is. How do I put this in words? Number one, well, obviously first and foremost, I wouldn't be in this world without family, right? I wouldn't be in this world without my parents. And obviously this world wouldn't be a thing without God, right? So God is first, obviously. And then family second. And then I would say money's third, right? Just because.
Or yourself is third, right?
Yeah.
Because money is energy.
Right. Well, of course. I mean, technically, yes. I didn't have myself in that you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Myself.
You're external.
Of course. You know, I wouldn't not be who I feel like is I wouldn't sell my soul for money is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? I wouldn't lose myself in the process of making money. I don't make money. Money doesn't make me. I make money. You know what I mean? But as if like the things you want to achieve in life. You know what I mean? So God, family, yourself. You know what I mean? But family, like, you know, family can fuck you too. Excuse my language. You know what I mean? I understand that. But then it comes down to, are you willing to take that risk? You know what I mean? Are you okay with that chance happening? You know what I'm trying to say? Why? Because of the love you have for them. You get what I'm saying? You say emotion, you know, we should feel emotions, but then we're not human without emotions. I do think there are emotions that are, you know, pointless at times. But even then, we were given emotions for a reason, right? If we didn't have emotions, we would be human. So then, then it comes down to, you know, I think love is an amazing emotion. I think love is, you know, one of the highest frequencies of emotions.
But it's a chemical reaction.
Is it though?
But then, that's when you...
Is it though, or is it a gift from God?
That's when you mix nature with nurture, right? Nature is love, and love is okay, you know, is a chemical reaction given from God. Let's combine that, right? It's something given from God, but I say chemical reaction because it's time, okay? It's time. It's scientifically proven to be time, okay? It's something that lasts very little. However, here's where nurture mixes with nature. Nature is love, right? God-given. Mm-hmm. Nurture is different. How we treat that love is different. Loyalty, respect. Mm-hmm. That's how nature mixes with nurture, right? Love is very complicated. You have 3 types of love: brother, family, and romantic. But you're talking about how your parents have supported you, so then now it's your time to stay there, right, and support them.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they supported me, and you know, without them, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in.
So then here we go, you know.
But you have to be conscious of what's best for you at the same time, because what's best for you right now may not be what they think is best for you. So you have to consciously make that decision and take it into your own hands and say, no, this is best for us. And I feel as if this is best for us. You know what I mean?
You for yourself. What do you mean for us?
Well, yeah, for yourself or for us. I mean, if you're living for your family, right? For us, I mean, you know, we're a family. We're you know, we're together. We're gonna stay together. You know, I have my own life, but you know, without you guys, I'm nothing. So you get what I'm trying to say?
You think that?
Of course, bro. Family's everything. Family's number one. Family is that's not even a question, and that could be how I'm raised. But you know, I mean, my dad lost everything for me and my brothers. You understand? My dad sacrificed everything so me and my brothers could have a better life. So I owe him everything. You know what I mean? He could have, because if he was living for himself, he could have said, "Yeah, we're not going anywhere. We're not moving from Brazil. We're staying in Brazil." And who knows where I would have been there? Brazil is a terrible place to be. The culture's awful. You know, I don't mean to disrespect anybody. I'm Brazilian too, but you know, I believe that the culture's bad. People don't really work hard. People don't, you know, people drink, people, you know, party, that kind of stuff. I mean, but with that being said, if my dad wasn't living for family,
he was there.
I wouldn't be where I'm at. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I owe my family everything.
But then here we jump into this point of, you know, you weren't involved with the decision of creating you.
Right. Well, right.
So then he had that choice,
Mm-hmm.
and he chose to have you.
Right.
He chose to give what's best for you, and commendable job, right? But then it's like you didn't ask to be in this world, but then yeah, he did support you. But at the end of the day, how is there a limit to how much support you're willing to give him
Give? I don't think.
or family in general?
Yeah, I don't think there's a limit. I mean, just the reason why I don't think there is a limit, and I don't think there should be a limit, is because if both you guys are lined up with the same morals, right, where you're not gonna take advantage of people, you have other people as interest. You know what I mean? Like you're thinking about other people as well. You're not just thinking about yourself. If your family is all thinking like that, you guys all have the same kind of thought. There will never be an issue to you being taken advantage of. You know what I mean? Because there's people out there who make a ridiculous amount of money and their parents take advantage of them with money. You know what I mean? They want this, they want that, they want this, they want that. When in reality, it's not best for their son, who has all that money, because they could be doing something better with their money that they want to do. You know what I mean? But then again, it's like, if your dad is thinking about you, he's not going to be asked for the money. Family's everything, man. I mean, if you don't have family, you don't have shit. You really don't. Because then it's like, who do you even share your success with? Who do you celebrate with? Friends that are really close to you, but then that's family, right?
But then, let me take this a further say. Why do you need that? Why do you need to have anybody celebrate to begin with? Why do you need that validation?
It's not more
Human.
validation. It's more. I see what you're saying.
It's more loyalty, or what? It's more. What is this? It's pride, or what?
I would just feel, and this is just because I can't speak for everybody. If I didn't have people to celebrate my success with, if I didn't have someone who I have in mind when I'm striving for success, I wouldn't. Number one, I wouldn't get there. The hunger's not there. You understand? I wouldn't take action. Number two, I would feel
Empty.
I would feel lonely. I would feel like I'm missing something. I would feel like I don't have a purpose. You know what I mean? Because I could have all the money in the world, all the cars, all the houses. It's all material things. You get what I'm saying? I feel like that's why there's people who cause harm to themselves, and there's people who feel like they have no purpose. I mean, you hear it all the time. Money doesn't make you happy. You know what I mean? Money solves problems, and yes, solving those problems technically would make you happier, would have a happier life, and I agree with that. I think if I had more money, in my opinion, I think if I had more money, I would be happier, just because I feel like I have, achieved what I'm striving for, if that makes sense. But you can have all the money in the world and not have shit. You can have a bad relationship with God. You can have a terrible relationship with everybody. You could be by yourself in a 36,000 square foot mansion. Like, what do you do now? You have the house, you have the cars, you have $250,000, cash on your desk. You have $100 million in the bank, but it's like, cool. Like, what's next? You know what I mean? Am I gonna make more money? No, I don't care about the money.